Hi guys and welcome back. Today I'll be doing the next part for What If Piccolo Trained with Goku. Last time we saw the events of the Android Saga begin, with Goku still feeling the effects of the heart virus, leaving him unable to fight, but thanks to some healing from Dende, it accelerated the healing process, meaning Goku is back in fighting shape much faster. Alongside this, Piccolo has also done a risky move by fusing with his father. He can feel the great power increase coursing through his body, however now something dangerous lives within him, and he's not sure what it is. But let's get back to it. We see Goku and Gohan training in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Their goal is to achieve the Super Saiyan Grade 4 state, which in this timeline is much easier goal thanks to Gohan already having the Super Saiyan form. So they can immediately start working on mastering the state, while also having more time to spar and just actually train instead of spending time mentoring Gohan into the form. Now, much like in canon, Goku does see the great power hidden within Gohan, and he believes it will be the key to helping them defeat the androids. But for now, he doesn't think it's too necessary. After all, he doesn't know about the events going on the outside, and we'll cover them now. Outside the time chamber, Piccolo has just left the lookout. He feels a great deal of guilt, and it's weird. The way Goku looked at him took him off guard. He never expected to care about Goku's opinion too much. He's long since accepted Goku as his rival and friend, but that was different. He was so angry at him there for a second. He's never seen Goku like this. But he understands that the move he made was the best, that he knows they need the Dragon Balls, but also need the power boost. It was the best choice he had. So Piccolo decides to shake these feelings of doubt away and talk to Goku about it later, as he continues to fly with both Cargo and Dende. Almost a day passes, as over at Kame House, all the humans have gathered just to hide out and do some light sparring while waiting for Goku to come back. As the humans try to figure out how to help, mainly Krillin and Tien, they're both sick of watching from the sides and not being able to do anything. They want to help out in any way they can, and an opportunity presents itself as the androids arrive outside of Kame House. The trio of Yamcha, Krillin and Tien rush outside, staring down the androids. They are shaken with the androids' presence, as they know they are no match for them. But they aren't going to let that deter them, as all three of them take a fighting stance. The androids tell them to back off. 17 reminds them that they only actually want to kill Son Goku, then they'll be out of their hair, or for at least half of them, out of their face. 16, annoyed, begins to scan the house for Son Goku's presence. Krillin, seeing this, remembers back to Piccolo's power arriving back on Earth a couple of hours ago, and he remembers Piccolo was much stronger. He's got to take a gamble, as Krillin begins to slightly raise his power, giving no visual indication that he is powering up, trying to send out a signal to Piccolo. However, unfortunately for Krillin, 16 scanners pick up what the man is doing, as 16 points out towards his siblings. 18, looking towards Krillin, gives him a small little playful look, telling him to stop messing around and just be a good boy, tell them where Goku is. Krillin's flustered but won't sell out his friend, but luckily his signal worked. Tien and Yamcha can sense Piccolo's power rapidly approaching. It's going to take him a few minutes to get here, but that's all they need. But unfortunately for them, the androids, now knowing Goku isn't at this building, so they plan to head towards the next one to check it out. Krillin and Tien watch the androids take flight, almost about to leave the island, before Krillin and Tien look at each other and understand they need to buy a little bit of time for Piccolo to arrive. If these androids leave their sight, they won't be able to find them again until they show themselves. So quickly, Tien and Krillin jump out, saying how they will defeat the androids here and now. This stops the androids in their tracks, as 17 gives a very hearty laugh, while 18 gives a small chuckle, calling it a cute threat, staring down Krillin. However, both Krillin and Tien power up, showing the androids they are serious. The androids themselves take a second before taking a fighting stance themselves. They plan to play with their food just a little bit. After all, it's been a bit boring just travelling on the road. They might as well have a little bit of fun. As Krillin turns towards Yamcha, telling him to get Roshi and everyone else off the island. Yamcha nods as he flies into the house, grabbing everyone and rocketing off, heading towards Piccolo, wanting to give the warning. 17 locks eyes with Tien, while 18 stares down Krillin. The fight begins and the island begins to shake under the power being displayed. Unfortunately for the humans, they aren't really able to keep up with the androids, only able to keep their attention mildly, but thankfully, the androids are playing with their food, even a small bit. So the humans try everything they can to persevere, but slowly, the androids are losing their attention span. 17 is the first one to get bored, and he begins to fight seriously. He doesn't hold a punch as he punches Tien directly in the gut and then kicking him into the island below, smashing up Roshi's house. Tien is left in the ground and in a world of pain. Tien begins to pull himself out of the ground, but doesn't have enough time, as 17, seeing the man do this, fires a blast straight towards the Triclops. This attack destroys most of the island, and leaves Tien very badly hurt and almost unable to stand. Krillin, having seen this, screams out for his friend. He manages to raise his aura enough to knock 18 away, who had been kind of flirting with him throughout the entire fight, as he then stares down towards 17, charging up a Kamehameha and firing it straight towards the android. 17 laughs a little bit as the blasts rocket towards him. Inches before contact, 17 erupts a barrier, defending himself from the attack. He looks towards Krillin and tells him it was a good try, but he's really bored now. 17 then zooms towards Krillin, headbutting the small fighter, almost knocking him out. This gets him scolded by 18, saying how she wasn't finished playing with him yet. 17 just shrugs, retorting how he was bored and they want to go find Goku now. At least he might be interesting. But before he can even finish that thought, he is kicked in the face and sent crashing into what remains of Roshi's island. Piccolo then asks 17 if he just wanted to be entertained, he could have just come to him while he throws off his weights. Piccolo looks towards the injured humans and thanks them for buying him some time and also giving him the warning, before he shouts out for both cargos to grab the humans and take them to Dende on the island that they left him on. Both cargos nod as they rush off, grabbing the bodies of the weakened humans, while the male android flies up to confront Piccolo, asking how he got so strong. Piccolo laughs, saying he made a deal with the devil, and this confuses 17. He assumes that it was just a cheap shot, and nothing really happened. But 16 informs 17 that the power Piccolo now holds is dangerous, and is almost on level with 17 himself. Hearing this, the androids are slightly concerned, as Piccolo smirks with a menacing look in his eyes. 17 isn't shaken though, as their battle begins, playing out a lot like canon, for a short while. When Piccolo realises that they are equally matched, he knows he needs to change the tide of this match, as much as he doesn't want to use the form, to prevent him having to waste his own body and stamina to equal the playing field. Piccolo calls out Kaioken, changing his aura to a light red. As he and 17 begin to exchange blows once more, it's clear Piccolo is now the stronger one in this fight. It isn't an effortless victory, but he is holding his own much better. Watching from the sides as her brother gets beaten quite badly, 18 decides she can't watch her brother be made a fool of anymore, as she flies in, cheap shotting Piccolo, getting him off her brother. She tells 17 that they should have killed him when they had the chance, as Piccolo smiles, saying he won't give them that luxury ever again. His aura grows more intense, with him shouting out Kaioken times 10, as Piccolo smiles, gesturing for the twins to come at him. As their battle begins to rage on, the androids are actually able to keep up against Kaioken times 10 Piccolo, thanks to their amazing teamwork and synergy. Alongside that, Piccolo's body is starting to feel the effects of the Kaioken. Even though he can handle the lower levels, it doesn't mean it doesn't have backlash. Plus, he can feel his stamina draining, where these two show no sign of slowing down. Piccolo realises he needs to end this fight fast, so he decides to do so. Piccolo powers up, shouting out Kaioken times 80. His aura and body burn a bright red, as he grabs 18's face and extends his arm straight towards the ground, into what remains of Roshi's island. Once he slams 18 into the ground, he scissor kicks 17 into his sister. The twins hit one another with a lot of pain, even letting out a cry of it. 16, watching from the side, decides he wants to step in and help his siblings. He runs over to them, grabbing them, telling them that they need to leave. Piccolo is now far too strong for them. 18 and 17 refuse, as the androids look up to where Piccolo was, but they see Piccolo charging an attack none of them have any data on. But they can tell it's powerful, and they won't survive the attack. Quickly they start trying to gather themselves and escape, but it's far too late for that, as Piccolo shouts out Light Grenade, firing the attack off towards them. 16 stands over his siblings, wanting to defend them. The two twins erupt barriers around themselves and 16 to try and block the attack, but the attack just cuts straight through it, like it was nothing. With the attack colliding with 16's metal body, the whole planet shakes under the might of it. Piccolo drops out of his Kaioken form, feeling heavily fatigued from the high attack, watching the dust as it begins to settle. Piccolo stands cautiously for a few seconds before seeing the androids had survived, but he had managed to deal some serious damage, seeing 16's body is being heavily destroyed, missing the whole right side of his body, as 17 and 18 have also taken some serious bruising and cuts across their body. 18, seeing her older brother damaged, asks if he's alright. 16 responds calmly how he is fine, and just will need some minor repairs, getting a little bit of a chuckle out of 18, saying how he will need much bigger repairs than minor. 17 looks towards his older brother, and screams out towards Piccolo, enraged. However, Piccolo looks horrified towards them. 17 at first thinks it's to do with him, as he tells Piccolo he's right to be afraid, because he's about to destroy him and everything on this planet. But Piccolo's not locking eyes with him. Looking behind him, 17 then hears the shout of Future Cargo telling the androids to leave. Confused, he looks to the side to see Future Cargo, Present Cargo, and both humans they had fought only a few minutes ago, back up to mostly fully healed, staring at something behind him. 17 turns around slowly to see a giant bug-like creature that he has never seen before in his life, but it has an oddly familiar feeling to it. The creature introduces itself as family, and says how he's Cell, and he's just here to bring them all back together. 16 immediately doesn't trust this creature, pushing 18 with his one arm behind him, telling 17 to back away and to take the Z-Fighter's advice. 17 is confused, almost stuck in a trance staring at the bug, with Cell slowly creeping towards the android, talking to him more about how they're family and both creations of Dr. Gero, and that he's here to help them defeat Son Goku, all while preparing his tail behind his back. Piccolo at this point shouts out for the androids to leave. His body is too heavy to move at the moment after the damage dealt by the Kaioken times 80. But it's too late. 17 turns around to ask for any information about what Piccolo had said, and in those few seconds, Cell sees his opportunity and absorbs him. The bio-android begins his metamorphosis. 18 screams out for her brother, with 16 trying to hold her back, managing to do so ever so slightly. Feeling and seeing the power of Cell change in front of him, and seeing the girl screaming for her brother, Future Cargo shouts towards 18, telling her to leave the island and get out of here as fast as possible. 18 refuses to leave until she gets her brother back. This gets her scolded by Future Cargo and Piccolo. However, Krillin feels bad. Krillin turns to Tien and asks if he can still fly. The Triclops weakly nods. After getting healed by Dende, he's got it in him, but he's not got long left of flight. Krillin thanks him and asks to follow along. Tien agrees to do so, as both Tien and Krillin rocket towards 18. Krillin grabbing 18 bridal style, as Tien grabs what remains of 16, as the pair help each other fly off the island. 18 immediately starts fighting back, throwing punches into Krillin's back. The man endures it briefly, shouting out to her that he understands she's sad, he gets it, but she needs to understand right now, if she doesn't go and leave this island, she'll end up just like her brother. He promises to try and help save him, but right now they need to get out of here. 18's kind of shocked by this, looking at Krillin, who shows a brave face, but he's feeling a lot of pain from the punches 18 put into his back, and also is scared out of his mind at what Cell is becoming. 18 asks if Krillin promises to help her, as he nods his head, letting Krillin carry her for a few more seconds before flying on her own, even grabbing 16, as Krillin supports Tien. They try to move as fast as they can, but thanks to Tien being slowed by the damage he had taken from 17, he's not able to keep up to the best, meaning they fly at a lot slower rate. Back with Piccolo, he begins to watch Cell complete his transformation, becoming semi-perfect Cell. With a few seconds left before it's completed, Piccolo tells his students to head off with the humans and protect them and the androids, but his students refuse, telling him that they'll stay and help. This leads to a bit of a back and forth argument for a few seconds before something snaps inside of Piccolo, as he screams out for them to stop disobeying him and do as he says. After all, he is the king. Piccolo stops after saying this, confused at what just came out of his mouth, but the two cargos are shaken by this. Weakly, they agree, chasing off after the humans. Piccolo is so confused at what just happened. That wasn't him at all. That rage was something he's never felt before, and it was over something so small. He doesn't know what's happening, but for now he needs to focus, turning his attention back towards Cell, who is fully transformed to his semi-perfect state. He looks up at Piccolo and starts looking around, seeing that 18 had managed to escape while he was transforming. He asks the Namekian to just cut out the middle part. Let's avoid beating each other up, and just point him in the direction 18 went. Piccolo refuses. Having managed to heal his body a bit with his magic, He powers up to a Kaioken times 20, rushing towards Semi-Perfect Cell, but it's clear straight away that Semi-Perfect Cell is far out of his league, so he has no other option. As Piccolo powers up to a Kaioken times 50, he knows his body will only hold up for a few minutes after this. After all, he used a Kaioken times 80, he can only hope to buy a few more seconds. Piccolo manages to go toe to toe with Semi-Perfect Cell for a little bit, but he can feel the effects of this Kaioken now starting to strain him heavily, so he decides he's going to have to take one last stand. The pair continue to battle as Piccolo eventually sees an opportunity. He donkey kicks Cell in the chin, sending Cell directly into the sky. Cell collects himself, stopping his momentum, as he looks down to see Piccolo firing off a huge amount of blasts in his general direction. Cell begins to dodge and avoid as many attacks as he can, effortlessly, but he then realises that Piccolo is missing his shots. He's confused for a few seconds as he finally catches on. As he looks around seeing all the blasts surrounding him, Piccolo smiles as he shouts out times 50, Hellzone Grenade. All the blasts rocket towards Cell, exploding upon impact, doing serious damage. After the attack ends, Piccolo falls to the ground of what remains of Roshi's Island, which at this point is only a rock or two. As he watches up into the sky, he sees Cell filled with holes. Piccolo laughs, thinking he had won, before Cell's body begins to regenerate. Piccolo's eyes almost jump out of his head, having watched this. He can't believe that Cell is that durable, making Piccolo question if he could have recovered from that. He isn't too sure. With Semi-Perfect Cell recollecting himself after being almost killed, he flies down towards Piccolo, telling him he put up a good fight and has earned a warrior's death. With Cell lifting a hand, ready to fire off a blast, he is soon blinded and kicked in the gut. The attack doesn't hurt too much, but definitely catches him off guard. He then feels the power of both Cargos and Piccolo fly off. He thinks about chasing them before shaking his head. He will kill them later, for now, 18. He searches for Krillin's energy but has no luck. He guesses he'll have to do this the hard way. Both Cargos fly towards a small island not too far from Kame House, where they take their adoptive father, where Dende lies in wait. Then they seeing Piccolo in critical condition begins to heal him up. As he does so, he explains how it's going to take him a while. Piccolo's injuries are very extreme, and even his muscles are tore up thanks to the Kaioken times 80. It will probably take him a good few minutes to heal him up. Future Cargo, hearing this, tells his younger self to defend Piccolo and his brother. He's going to go off and help the others, or at least try to slow down Cell. Once Goku arrives, explain everything to him. Cargo looks as if he wants to go along with him, but Future Cargo explains that he's too weak to come along right now. He thanks him for his offer, but he'll be alright. He doesn't plan on dying without saving his timeline. As Future Cargo flies away, Cargo gets ready to fight anything that arrives, keeping an eye out for Goku's power. Over with Krillin, Tien and the androids. They lay low on an island. At first it's a bit awkward, thanks to them having been fighting to the death not even an hour ago, but Krillin tries to break this awkwardness by making small talk. However, Tien and 16's critical condition means that their attention is split slightly. 16's body is mostly fine, however he's losing the few liquids his body needs and he's haywiring ever so slightly. As for Tien, he had refused to let Dende heal him, refusing it since Piccolo might need it more than he does in a bit, and after the battle with Cell, something that the group had managed to keep up with in sense, feeling Piccolo's power disappear and the power of Cell starting to approach them, he's happy he made the decision to let Dende keep some of his energy. It means Piccolo might be in fighting shape faster, also could lead to them winning this entire fight, but right now Tien needs to sit and rest to gather some of his energy back, otherwise he's not going to be able to make the next flight. It leaves the planning to Krillin. Right now, Tien and 16 won't hold out for long if a fight is to break out, meaning he is the only fighter really able to defend 18. After thinking it over for a while, he understands that Tien and 16 need medical attention more than anything right now. Having as many readily available fighters as possible is the way they are going to win. So, after a lot of consideration and a deep breath, Krillin looks towards 18 and Tien. He tells 18 that he wants her to grab 16 and Tien and take them towards Capsule Corp. Everyone hearing this looks confused. Krillin explains that she has to take Tien not only to get patched up, but also to explain everything to Bulma so she's not just attacked on side. It will also allow 16 to get repaired so they'll have another fighter readily available. It will also give 18 somewhere to hide out from Cell, at least until everything's resolved or everyone's dead. Hearing this, Tien asks what he's going to be doing. Krillin gulps audibly, saying how he's going to be drawing Cell's attention away. He's going to power up as hard as he can and fly as fast as he can in the opposite direction in an attempt to draw Cell away. But he will only be able to buy them a couple of seconds at most. So he tells them to get to the mainland fast, where Tien can hide his power and they can walk towards Capsule Corp. This leads to 18 calling Krillin crazy. However, Krillin's quick to remind her that she can't go near Cell. She's too risky to put near him. As for Tien and 16, they're in no condition to be battling. So he wants them to get checked out and healed as fast as possible, and tells her not to worry. He'll be able to buy them a lot of time, enough time for them to get to the mainland. So, after giving a quick wave goodbye, he heads to the other side of the island, doing a few quick stretches, and powers up, flying away as fast as he can, grabbing the bio-android's attention, as Cell follows the power of Krillin fly off, and Future Cargo does the same. Both start rushing towards him. Krillin can sense them approaching him, as he feels hella nervous right now, gulping, but he starts flying faster. Both Tien and 18 want to go off and help him. However, 16 reminds them that he's willing to sacrifice his life to give 18 and Tien a chance to survive. They shouldn't waste it. So, the pair get ready to fly off with 16. Semi-Perfect Cell catches up with Krillin very fast, as the Bugman begins to look around, trying to figure out where everyone else who was with Krillin earlier has gone, as Krillin chuckles slightly before panic hits him hard. He senses the power of Tien. It's very faint, but it's enough that Cell could notice it. Tien is clearly flying right now. Thank God he took his advice, but he needs to keep Cell's attention. Krillin uses the solar flare and throws a Kamehameha straight towards Cell, but this does nothing but annoy him, as Cell breaks through the Kamehameha and grabs Krillin by the neck, trying to squeeze the life out of him. But while doing so, he senses Tien's power and smirks. He is about ready to kill Krillin when he's hit in the back of the head by a blast. Cell already recognises the power and is sick of this time traveller at this point. Turning to see Future Cargo, tells Cargo to back off. He's nowhere near his father's strength. He has no time to play games anymore. Holding on to Krillin as hard as he can, he rockets towards Future Cargo, slamming the bold fighter into the Namekian and then kicking them into the ocean. Cell doesn't want to waste the opportunity though. Charging up a Kamehameha, he fires it directly towards the pair. Cargo still collects himself while Krillin senses the attack coming towards them. He quickly reacts, flying out in front of Future Cargo, taking the attack. However, this completely destroys the human's body, killing him. Future Cargo screams out, rocketing out of the water, landing a solid blow in on Cell's face, but it was only one good hit. Cell then fires a blast directly into Cargo's chest, creating a massive hole. Future Cargo falls down into the ocean. Not dead, but hardly clinging to life as the Namekian healing tries its best to recover the damage done. Though can sense Future Cargo healing, but doesn't care enough to kill him. Sensing the power of Tien getting further and further away, he flies off as fast as he can. Tien had sensed everything. He senses Krillin having been killed, he senses the android approaching, and he doesn't want to stand by and watch anymore. His injuries be damned, he refuses to go down here. As the power of Semi-Perfect Cell approaches, Tien begins to merge all of his ki into one blast, screaming out for 18 to fly as fast as she can. 18 agrees as she rockets off ahead of him. Tien then turns to face Semi-Perfect Cell, and using all the ki he has left, all of his life force, he fires off a tri-beam of gargantuan size. The attack engulfs Cell only for a second before Cell's revealed to have lost an arm, but mostly be okay. Tien smiles for a second before falling to the ocean, dead. Cell laughs. How many people will fall before he gets this android? Cell then flies off as fast as he can, seeing 18 in his sights. It doesn't take long for him to catch up, and unfortunately, he manages to get his hands on her. Grabbing hold of her and throwing 16 to the side, he absorbs her, becoming perfect. 16's body floats very waverly. He's only got half of it, and he's trying to support it to the best of his abilities. As he watches Cell achieve perfection, as 16 doesn't know what to do anymore, Half of his bomb was destroyed when he was hit by that attack earlier, meaning he wouldn't be able to kill Cell with it. As he watches on in horror, Perfect Cell begins to test out his new body. Perfect Cell begins to wonder where he can find Goku, but that problem solves itself, as the arrival of Gohan, Goku and Piccolo catches his attention. All three fighters look serious, and all of them look pissed, as Cell looks towards Goku, happy to finally meet the man he's wanted to fight for all his life. But Goku doesn't care for anything right now. He shouts out to Cell that he's killed way too many people, and he's going to make him pay. Gohan feels exactly the same, as he feels a rage he's never felt before bubbling up inside of him. Piccolo himself, having been healed up by Dende fully, is ready to kill Cell himself after what he had done to Future Cargo. All three power up, revealing something that confuses Cell, revealing how Gohan is actually the strongest out of all three of them. This is surprising to Cell, but he doesn't really think too much into it. He believes Goku must be hiding some power. As the fight breaks out, the trio work together, fighting Cell. Piccolo unfortunately is the weakest, as he struggles to fight off against the bug, yet using a Kaioken times 50 he is hardly able to keep up. However, thanks to all the years he has spent training with Goku, he has a great understanding of how the same fights, leading to him being able to work together with Goku very well. As the two older fighters work together and are able to hold their own against Cell, something is really confusing to Cell. The more power Goku shows off, the more he realises Gohan is the stronger fighter. He's able to keep up with Cell, and working alone he can almost defeat him. And when his father and Piccolo are all fighting together, they're doing some serious damage to Cell. But Goku realises they're not going to win like this, they're just going to end up wasting their own energy. And Goku has heard of Cell's regeneration and how powerful it is. He thinks he has a plan. He telepathically talks to Piccolo, asking if he believes the Spirit Bomb would work. Piccolo, hearing this, is shocked, having completely forgotten about the technique, and now remembering it, he thinks it's a good idea and there's a chance it would work. So Goku tells Piccolo he just needs to buy himself some time. So if Piccolo and Gohan can work together to buy him at least a few minutes, he'll have the attack ready. Piccolo, hearing this, agrees. This leads to Goku jumping out of the fight, something that confuses Cell. And before he can think about it, Piccolo powers up to a times 80, telling Gohan they have to work together. The boy agrees, as Piccolo provides support for Gohan. Piccolo's body is ripping apart underneath the surface, but this doesn't stop him from pushing himself even further, going in for a punch at one point and then powering up to a times 100 to land a very powerful gut punch in on Cell, before reversing back to times 80. Gohan and Piccolo fight together well, holding Cell back, but as Cell begins to show more and more power over the span of the fight, Gohan is the only one really able to keep up. Piccolo is now more so just taking hits for Gohan, which is fine by Piccolo. All he needs to make sure is that Cell doesn't see what Goku is doing, and the bug has made a few attempts to see what's happening, with very minor success thanks to Gohan and Piccolo being a great distraction. However, he can see Goku with his hands raised into the air, causing Cell to wonder what he is doing. But being caught up in a fight, he doesn't think too much of it. 5 minutes pass as Goku finally shouts out he is ready. Both Piccolo and Gohan, hearing this, jump away from Cell as Goku throws a small orb towards Cell. Piccolo looks worried as the attack looks small and weak, however Goku looks confident. Cell has no information on this attack and isn't sure what to do. However, he goes to deflect the attack, reaching his hands out and grabbing it. But the moment Cell grabs hold of the orb, he feels the energy of Goku, Yamcha, all other surviving fighters on Earth and the planet in the attack, causing Cell to panic. And the moment he grabs hold of this orb, Goku screams out, infusing more ki into the attack, causing the attack to grow massive in size, soon trying to engulf Cell. The Bioandroid is able to avoid this, however he is being pushed back, slowly having to reveal more and more of his power. Goku begins to feed more and more ki into it as a struggle begins to happen. Cell's power is definitely too much, but the Spirit Bomb is very strong. But Goku isn't sure he has the energy left in him to push this Spirit Bomb all the way. He had to make the Spirit Bomb fast, so ended up using a lot of his own energy instead of gathering it from the planet. Goku starts losing the clash, and he isn't sure how to change the tide of things, until the Spirit Bomb triples in size. Goku's confused, but then looks to his left and right, seeing both Gohan and Piccolo feeding energy into the Spirit Bomb, helping out Goku. Goku smiles from seeing this and now puts all he had into pushing this attack to destroy Cell. The android starts losing ground and even his hands are beginning to get absorbed by the attack, causing him to scream out in pain for a few seconds, before he breaks out into laughter and a shout of Kaioken times 10 is heard. Cell's power skyrockets, with him then lifting his hands upwards, deflecting the Spirit Bomb into the sky, revealing Cell to be in the Kaioken. The group look horrified as Cell holds his newfound times 10 form, while saying, "I must say, Son Goku, you provided a challenge I wasn't expecting. However, you are no longer the top dog, and you have lost my interest. So, I'll complete the good doctor's orders and finish you now, and then I'm gonna kill your son." As Cell lifts his hands, firing off a blast towards Goku. The Saiyan tries to jump out of the way, but it's clear he isn't going to avoid the attack. Luckily for Goku, Piccolo has extended his arms, grabbing the Saiyan by the leg. But something strange happens. Piccolo's body locks up. He tries desperately to pull Goku out of harm's way, but he can't move a single muscle in his body. All he can do is watch in fear as he stares at Goku, waiting for the attack to hit. On Goku's end, he looks at Piccolo, not sure why he isn't moving, and then he sees something truly horrifying. For the briefest of moments, he sees the Demon King, before he's absorbed by Cell's attack, killing him. Piccolo frozen in fear. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what happened, but in his mind, he can hear someone laughing hysterically. Piccolo realises what happened, but he's destroyed. This is his fault. Staring at the hand he lost to the blast. Over with Gohan, he is snapped like never before. His power begins to skyrocket as he achieves the Super Saiyan 2 form. However, unlike canon, Gohan fights very seriously here, thanks to him having been trained a bit better in martial arts, and also losing Goku straight away this time. Fights to kill Cell from the get-go. Cell is happy he's got the battle he was looking for. However, he realises he might have bit off more than he can chew, as Gohan is able to outpower Cell even in his Kaioken times 10. At some point Cell begins to panic, realising he might lose, so he tries to up his Kaioken output to a times 20 in hopes it will change the tide of the fight. But only a few seconds into using the technique, his body gives out, ripping underneath him. He assumed his regeneration would stop this from happening, but with no mastery over the Kaioken, it was a very dangerous technique to use. Gohan, seeing his chance, charges up a Kamehameha and fires it off, completely destroying Cell, leaving nothing left. After the battle is done, Piccolo looks up to see Gohan, having won. He flies over to the boy to check if he's alright, having recomposed himself a little bit. But Gohan just stares at Piccolo, asking him, "Why didn't you save him?" Piccolo tenses up as Gohan begins to ask more questions, saying if this was part of his master plan that he's been working on for years to gain his father's trust and then get him killed, and this was the perfect chance? Or was it jealousy of Goku's power? What was it? Piccolo doesn't know how to respond, just sitting in silence. This annoys Gohan even more, as he pulls back his arm to punch Piccolo before dropping his fist. He tells Piccolo he never wants to see him again and to stay away from him, as he flies off and starts collecting the Dragon Balls. While Gohan is doing so, Piccolo sees 16 nearby and is not sure what to do with him. However, he offers to give him a lift to Capsule Corp like Krillin had done. It's the least he can do for the bold fighter who had died trying to save this planet. 16 accepts, as Piccolo heads off to find his adoptive sons first, finding them on an island having healed up Future Cargo. He's happy to see that Future Cargo is okay. Having sensed what had happened to Goku, they want to ask but decide not to. They can see how destroyed Piccolo looks, so they just fly alongside him to Capsule Corp, where Bulma tries to repair 16. Back with Gohan, a couple hours later, he managed to collect all the Dragon Balls and revive all those killed by Cell. Something Shenron can easily grant, but as the people from Ginger Town and multiple other places that Cell had absorbed reappear, even the androids come back. He finds it weird that he can not sense the power of his father, Tien or Krillin. After a few seconds go by, Gohan asks what happened, as Shenron explains how they refused to come back. The voice of Goku is then heard by all of his friends and family,
The Saiyan explains how he'll be staying in Otherworld from now on. He has caused too much danger to the planet over the years he's been here. People like the Saiyans, Frieza, and Cell would have never happened if he wasn't around. So, like canon, Goku chooses to stay in Otherworld. As for Tien and Krillin, they say how they're going to spend a few years up here getting some good training in, hopefully overtaking Goku, but they don't see that happening. So, they're just going to spend a bit of time getting some practice in before returning to Earth. Krillin even sends a message Bulma's way, asking for her to give a message to 16, in hopes that 16 will give it to 18. But after that, the trio leave. Goku gives everyone a farewell, saying how he can't wait to see them all here a couple years from now. As they leave to start their training, that's where I plan on leaving this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. I really enjoyed writing this part, even though I've changed the script about 4,000 times. Sorry this part will be coming out later than I intended. I lost my voice and my mic broke. I had a really bad week for recording, so I just really couldn't do anything for it. I think I've probably put a community tab up about it anyway, with some questions on it. So, with that all being said, I do hope everyone enjoyed and is looking forward to the next part. Hope you all have a great day or good night, and I'll see you next time.